Hello and thanks for joining me. Today I'm going to make a little video about playing chromatic scales, getting them in tune. As many of you may know already, one of the biggest battles for getting chromatic scales in tune is knowing where to put your finger. In other words, another way to express that is, what do you listen for? One of my teachers in university, a lovely British man named Michael Bowie, said, "The biggest problem with chromatic scales is you don't move your finger far enough." Well, that's good. That was helpful, but it's not helpful unless you know where you're going to move it to. Like, you can move it further, but if you don't know what you're listening for, then you're in trouble, right? So I've developed this little thing. It's a bit of a joke. I call it the 12-step program for playing chromatic scales, because there are 12 steps in a chromatic scale, but my exercise also has 12 steps. And it's very repetitive, but it's repetitive for a good reason. So I'll make it as quick as I can. The way you do it, every other step is you play a major scale quickly. And the reason you play it quickly is because you want to use your muscle memory and your ear to execute the major scale, so you know how to relate the next thing. So step one, we'll take a D major scale as our default scale, and then I'll show you how you do it up the neck in a closed position. But you start with a D major scale, and when you play the scale, you double the top note. And I like to think, you can think in 4/4 time and maybe think of 16th notes or even 32nd notes, so that you're really thinking 8 in a bow. So I would do it like this. Okay? And then what you do is you fill in the first hole, and you can slow that down. And then we don't double the top note, so we still get 8 notes in a bow. So step one, again, you can add a tonic at the bottom. Okay? And then we do, and you progress like that. Step three is again the major scale, 8 in a bow. Step four, we fill in the sharp, or I guess we'd say the flat mi. And I'll do it slower. The major scale again, this is step four. The next one, we're going to use our fourth finger, and the third and fourth will only play once, like in a standard chromatic scale where we're sliding fingers. So now the next one is, so I didn't do it right. Next step. And now the sharp so, which a lot of people have a hard time hearing. So, sharp so going into la. Major scale again. And now the flat 7. And now the major scale again. And now we're going to have 12 in a bow, and we're going to fill them all in. So that's how I do it. There's the 12 steps. And of course you can do it slower. You could put a tuner on, but I would actually discourage that, because it's more about listening. I mean, you could use the tuner if you're really having a hard time, but if you know how to do that and you move from, you could do partial scales, and now, so it's all getting our ear to go in relation to the major scale. Now, if you want to do it in closed position, I was never really taught how to do this, because I was always getting my fingers mixed up. But if you use finger pattern 3, and you think of your hand parameter that this is your default pattern, so do D major scale up an octave. So to fill in step one, we're going to have the first finger as anchored and the fourth finger as anchored. We're going to use 2, 2, 3, 3. For the next one, we'll reach outside of the box, back, and then we'll go here, 2, 2, 3, 3. So the 4 is our anchor. So here, I won't go through the whole thing, but I'll play the major scale once. So the in-between steps are we have 2-2, and then we have 3-3, and then we have the one that goes back, so we have our scale. Then we have 2-2 again, and then. Now, if some of you know my warm-up and we call it chromatic A, coming down can be very twisty for some people because you're going down, you're lowering each finger, and you can wind up with a hand parameter like this, which is dangerous. Then you don't know how to get that half step. You have to keep the hand open. So in order to do that, if you think of my warm-up, so it's version 5, chromatic B. That'll put your hand in the parameter for that. Then you're in business. So if that was too fast, or you want a PDF of my demonstration, feel free to leave me a note and I'll send you a PDF. Okay, I hope that's helpful and fun. So remember, it's 12 steps, major scale, fill in a hole, major scale, fill in a hole until you get to the end, and then major scale, fill them all in. Okay, let me know how that works out for you. Thank you.